The idea of a world beneath our own is an ancient and persistent dream. Many cultures told stories of underworlds, places of spirits or hidden realms deep within the earth. These were not scientific theories, but mythic expressions of the unknown. The Greek concept of Tartarus, for instance, placed a gloomy abyss far beneath the land of the living. Norse mythology spoke of Svartalfheim, the subterranean home of the Dark Elves. These tales resonated with a fundamental human curiosity about what lies underfoot. They were the seeds of a much grander, more elaborate speculation that would emerge centuries later. The transition from myth to scientific hypothesis began during the Age of Enlightenment. In 1692, the brilliant astronomer Edmond Halley, famous for identifying his namesake comet, proposed a radical new model of the Earth. He wasn't satisfied with the simple explanation of a solid sphere. Halley suggested that the planet was a hollow shell, about 800 kilometers thick. Inside this shell, he envisioned two more concentric shells, like a planetary Russian doll. At the very center, he placed a hot, glowing core that served as a sun for the inner worlds. He believed these shells were separated by atmospheres and rotated at different speeds. This complex motion, he argued, was the cause of the mysterious fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field. Halley even speculated that these inner realms could be inhabited. Imagined the light from the inner sun could occasionally escape, creating the spectacular phenomenon of the aurora borealis. The idea, though startling, was taken seriously by some of Halley's contemporaries. The Swiss mathematician Leonhard Euler, a giant of 18th century science, also toyed with the concept. Euler proposed a simpler version, a single hollow shell with a central sun, some 1,000 kilometers in diameter. He imagined this inner sun providing warmth and light to a splendid civilization dwelling on the interior surface. He did not, however, include the multiple concentric shells that Halley had proposed. Another scholar, Sir John Leslie from Scotland, also explored a similar idea in the early 19th century. He argued for a hollow Earth containing two central suns, which he named Pluto and Proserpine. But it was an American Army officer and trader named John Cleve Sims Jr. who would become the theory's most fervent and famous champion. In 1818, Sims issued a bold declaration to the world. He proclaimed that the Earth was hollow and habitable within. He sent his manifesto to universities, scientific societies, and governments across the globe. Sims's version of the theory was unique and specific. He insisted that the planet was not a sealed sphere, but was accessible. He described enormous openings, thousands of kilometers wide, at both the North and South poles. He called these Sims holes. Through these vast portals, he believed one could sail a ship directly into the interior world. He was utterly convinced of his theory's truth. Sims dedicated his life to this singular cause. He embarked on a tireless campaign of lectures and fundraising. He spoke in towns and cities across the eastern United States, a charismatic and passionate, if eccentric, figure. Described the inner world in vivid detail. He spoke of its gentle climate, its lush vegetation, and its abundant wildlife. He argued that the interior would be a paradise, warmed by the reflected light of the sun. He envisioned a world ripe for exploration and commerce. His goal was to mount a grand expedition to the North Pole to find the opening and prove his theory. He lobbied the U.S. Congress relentlessly for funding. He argued that the nation that first reached the inner world would gain immense prestige and economic advantage. Surprisingly, Sims gained a significant following. The public was captivated by his grand vision. He even found a powerful supporter in a U.S. senator from Kentucky, Richard M. Johnson, who would later become vice president. Johnson championed Sims's cause in the Senate. In 1822, a bill to fund the polar expedition was actually put to a vote. It was ultimately defeated, but it had garnered a respectable 25 votes in favor. Despite this setback, Sims continued his efforts undeterred. He and his supporters, including a wealthy Ohio businessman named James McBride, continued to plan for a private expedition. Sims's health eventually failed, and he died in 1829, his dream of sailing into the earth unrealized. However, his legacy lived on. His follower, Jeremiah N. Reynolds, a journalist and explorer, continued to advocate for a polar expedition. Reynolds was a more pragmatic and politically savvy operator than Sims. He successfully lobbied for what would become the United States Exploring Expedition of 1838. While the expedition's official purpose was scientific and commercial exploration of the Pacific and the Antarctic coast, for Reynolds, it was a chance to vindicate Sims. The expedition did chart large areas of Antarctica, but it found no giant polar hole. The failure to find Sims's polar openings did not kill the hollow Earth idea. It merely changed it. The theory began to drift from the realm of fringe science into that of fiction and esoteric belief. Jules Verne's 1864 masterpiece, Journey to the Center of the Earth, immortalized the concept in popular culture. Verne's heroes enter the subterranean world not through a polar opening, but through an extinct Icelandic volcano. They discover a vast underground sea, a primeval forest of giant mushrooms, and herds of prehistoric creatures. Verne's novel cemented the image of a lost world, a land that time forgot, hidden beneath the surface. In the early 20th century, new proponents emerged with their own modified versions of the theory. William Reed, in his 1906 book Phantom of the Poles, dispensed with the inner suns and concentric shells. He argued for a simple hollow sphere with polar openings, believing the interior was lit by the external sun shining through the holes. A few years later, in 1913, Marshall Gardner published A Journey to the Earth's Interior. Gardner was a staunch defender of the inner sun concept. He claimed that a small sun, about 600 miles in diameter, existed at the Earth's center. He believed this sun was the source of the mammoths found frozen in Siberian ice. He theorized the animals had wandered out from the warm interior and were flash frozen on the surface. Gardner even patented a working model of his hollow Earth theory in 1912. After World War II, the hollow Earth theory took an even more conspiratorial turn. The myth of Agartha, a legendary subterranean kingdom, became intertwined with the theory. Agartha was said to be a city of immense wisdom and technological power, inhabited by an advanced race. These beings were sometimes described as the survivors of Atlantis or Lemuria. They were said to be the secret masters of the world, guiding humanity's destiny from their hidden realm. Entrances to Agartha were rumored to exist in the Himalayas, under the Egyptian pyramids, and of course, at the poles. This era also saw the emergence of the most sensational hollow Earth story of all, the alleged secret diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Byrd was a celebrated American naval officer and pioneering aviator. He was the first person to fly over both the North and South Poles. According to a diary that surfaced decades after his flights, Byrd did not merely fly over the North Pole in 1947. The diary claims he actually flew into the polar opening. For thousands of miles, he flew over a lush, green landscape of mountains, forests, and rivers. He saw strange animals resembling mammoths, He eventually encountered flying machines of a type he had never seen before. These craft escorted him to a glittering city. There, he was met by the inhabitants of this inner world, who called their realm Ariani. He warned that the surface world was on a path of self-destruction with its nuclear weapons. The master urged humanity to change its ways before it was too late. Bird was then escorted back to the surface world, sworn to secrecy. The authenticity of Bird's diary is overwhelmingly rejected by mainstream historians. There is no record of it in his official papers. The language and themes seem to reflect the UFO culture of the 1950s and 60s, rather than the 1940s. Most researchers believe it is a work of fiction, a hoax created long after Bird's death. Nevertheless, the story became a cornerstone of modern Hollow Earth belief. It provided a dramatic, first-hand account that seemed to confirm the wildest speculations. The theory also became entangled with Nazi Germany and UFOs. Some writers claimed that the Nazis, known for their interest in the occult, had established a secret base in Antarctica. From this base, known as Base 211 or New Swabia, they supposedly made contact with the inhabitants of the Hollow Earth. It was even suggested that Adolf Hitler and other high-ranking Nazis did not die at the end of the war. Instead, they escaped via submarine to Antarctica, and then into the subterranean world. This inner world was also proposed as the origin point for UFOs. Rather than coming from other planets, flying saucers were said to be the advanced aircraft of the Agarthans. They were emerging from the polar openings to monitor the surface world. A writer using the pseudonym Raymond Bernard was particularly influential in popularizing this UFO connection in his 1964 book, The Hollow Earth. Today, the Hollow Earth theory is definitively refuted by modern science. Decades of seismological data have given us a clear picture of the Earth's interior. The study of how earthquake waves travel through the planet shows a dense, solid inner core and a liquid outer core. We can measure the Earth's mass and density, which are consistent with a solid, layered structure, not a hollow one. The planet's powerful magnetic field is generated by the motion of the liquid iron outer core, a process well explained by dynamo theory. Furthermore, satellite imagery and polar expeditions have shown no evidence of any vast openings at the poles. Despite the overwhelming scientific evidence to the contrary, the Hollow Earth conspiracy lives on. It persists in the corners of the internet, in esoteric books, and in the minds of those who believe in a hidden reality. The idea of a secret world, a pristine paradise, untouched by the troubles of the surface, is a powerful and alluring one. It speaks to a deep-seated desire for discovery and a hope that there is more to our world than meets the eye. It is a testament to the enduring power of myth and the human imagination's ability to construct elaborate worlds just beyond the limits of our perception. The conspiracy suggests a realm of ancient beings, of lost civilizations, and of incredible technologies. It paints a picture of a central sun, illuminating a world of impossible beauty. It whispers of prehistoric creatures roaming lush, internal landscapes. It tells of wise masters who watch over us, hoping we will not destroy ourselves. It is a story of profound mystery and boundless possibility. It is the ultimate conspiracy, the secret of the world beneath our feet. The narrative continues to evolve, adapting to new anxieties and new hopes. It remains a compelling what-if, a grand story that challenges our understanding of the very ground we stand on. The allure of the unknown is strong. The dream of Agartha is not easily forgotten. The legend of Bird's flight continues to inspire. The search for the truth, for some, is a journey inward. The planet keeps its secrets well, but the storytellers will always try to uncover them. The hollow earth is more than a theory. It is a modern myth. It is a reflection of our own world, with its hopes for a hidden utopia and its fears of a secret power. The idea is a persistent echo from a more speculative age. It reminds us that not all mysteries have been solved. It asks us to question the foundations of our reality. It is a journey for the mind, if not for the body. The quest for the inner world is a quest for wonder itself. And that, perhaps, is a journey that will never truly end.